Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 10,300 subscribers, and if you could smash a like on the video, that would be greatly appreciated. I hope you're all doing well. Into the final week of the Premier League season. It's been a long season, but it feels like it's all wrapping up very quickly. Like this time next week, we're done, which is kind of crazy. Loads of you in the chat already. Sportcat, good to see you. Pelzer, Pekka, Icarus, Loopy, Jakob, Hyper Protagonist, Junior Films, Max Evans, Carter's in here, Ethan Udall, Ross Lawman, Samuel, Reese, Max, what's up? Says Jelly Belly, Jelly Vision, Churms, Leo, Tentego, Arjun, Maddie as well, and many, many more. It is good to see you all. Liverpool versus Aston Villa tonight, a game that is actually important for us. We need Liverpool to win. By the way, can you imagine, even 4 weeks ago, imagine thinking that we'd be sat here ahead of this game, Liverpool versus Villa, going, I really hope Liverpool win. That kind of shows you how far they've fallen off. Ryan, good to see you as well. Francesco, Brennan, Jake is in here as well. But yeah, mental how they fell off, genuinely. No disrespect to Liverpool fans, but that is a crazy thought, actually, that we're supporting Liverpool tonight. Because we need Tottenham to still be in the race for top 4 come tomorrow. Look, I still think the worst thing is there's so much talk about Spurs fans, a Spurs player's going to throw the game. Spurs fans all want to lose. Spurs could want to win. Spurs could try to win. They're still probably going to lose. That's the reality of it. They've got no Richarlison. They've got no Bissouma. They still haven't got a left back. I don't know, which way they'll try and figure that out this time. I think they look better with Van de Ven at left back, to be honest. But ultimately, Big Ange came out today and said, well, he basically ridiculed his own fans that want to lose that game. And he said they're taking it seriously and said that they would never have the mentality of not wanting to win. But again, I don't actually think that's relevant. I don't think Spurs have it within their power to beat Man City, which is unfortunate. But look, they're certainly more likely to somehow get something tomorrow if Liverpool win tonight. So that's what we're hoping for. When the team news comes out for that game, I'll bring it up on screen as well. Thoughts on the water features at Old Trafford? Yeah, hard to tell if it was United tears or the rain that caused it, but no, Old Trafford is falling down. Ten Hag is a fucking clown. No, it's sad. Do you know what? Genuinely, take away the rivalry side of it. Take away the rivalry side of it. It's quite sad to see Old Trafford in that state of disrepair as an icon, really, a footballing icon. It should be looked after better than that. If you look around the country, I mean, you could argue that it's, you could argue that what do they call it? What's the word for that thing where it's like a special place? Heritage, something or other. You know what I'm talking about. It could classify as one of those places. And it's insane how badly it's been looked after. And the reason for that is that they spend all of their money on players, and they spend it badly. You look at what City racked up 115 charges doing it. An area of outstanding natural beauty. Yeah, kind of like that, but it's not that. It's something different for buildings. Like a listed building. That's what I'm thinking of. But ultimately, City racked up 115 charges, but they were able to fully build a stadium and still spend money on players. We focused on the stadium and spent years not signing players. United have spent, ridiculous amounts of money on players and not looked after their stadium. And that is sad. That is sad. It's funny. It is kind of funny in some ways, but it's sad in other ways. I mean, you see that video of the away dressing room with water pouring through the ceiling. I mean, that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. A UNESCO heritage site. Yeah, again, it's kind of like that. It's listed, right? You have like a grade 1 listed building. Makes me grateful for the Emirates renovations we had a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, look, parts of the Emirates still, we've done some paintwork around the outside. There are still, if you actually go in the Emirates, there are still bits of it. I think the seats, at some point, the seats are probably going to need to be redone. They faded massively. Matty, good to see you. I appreciate that. Ronaldo said how bad it is. Yeah, and he got kicked out of the club. Ronaldo warned everyone how bad it was at Man United, and he got harassed for it. He got kicked out for it. So it's sad to see. It is sad to see. But I mean, my God, how bad were Man United yesterday? I watched the game back because obviously watching it live, and shout out to those of you that joined the watch along yesterday, by the way, on Tifo. Great watch along. And we've got another watch along tomorrow night on Tifo. Well, it's a hate along for Spurs versus Man City. Link to Tifo is in the description of this video if you want to go and join Tifo. That's where I do all the football watch-alongs. But, on the watch-along, I felt like, it was quite nervy and I was getting quite irritated with the way we were playing. And to an extent, I stand by that. The way we played yesterday was quite irritating. But actually, watching it back, we were never really under pressure from United. They had 2 shots on target. Hannah, good to see you. They had 2 shots on target, right? And one was from 30 yards from Casemiro straight at Raya, and the other one was an absolute P-roller from Anthony. The only real chance I can think of any significance was when Garnacho ran through and Saliba tackled him. Unbelievable tackle from Saliba. So I kind of, I look back and I actually think that game was kind of under control. I know it was only 1-0, and so because it was 1-0, it felt like we were on edge. But actually, I think we had a lot of control. I don't think Man United really worried us. And look, on the ball, I thought we were really poor, but defensively, we were solid. So that was good. But United were awful. United were awful. I still think if Rashford was there instead of Garnacho, Arsenal would have been in real danger. Yeah, maybe. But then, okay, counter to that, if Rashford had been playing, I think we'd have created far more chances. Because Garnacho, fair play to him, his work rate is immense. Where Rashford doesn't track back, Garnacho does. So by that point, we might have already been 2 or 3-0 up if Rashford had been playing. It could have gone either way, but that's what Keane said too. Yeah. Yeah, I think Keane and Rooney were spot on as well. They were talking about, Rooney talking about how he doesn't think all of those players are actually injured. And I think he's right. I do think he's right. Wish me luck ahead of Thursday, 2,500-word essay, and then I'm done for the second year of uni. Love that. I'll tell you what, the sweet spot. I don't know if you're if you're at uni, as in away from home, or if you live with your parents still and just travel to uni. But yeah, if you live at uni, the period between finishing up all of your exams, getting all of that done, and then the end of term for the summer, that period. They were the days. They were the days. So make sure you enjoy it. United fans actually bantering Arsenal for only scoring 1 goal at the same time said we played bad, so they couldn't beat a bad Arsenal. How bad must they be? I called old Dill's Footy Ramble out for that on Twitter last night. Trying to banter Arsenal for an his words, an embarrassing performance. Imagine 5 years ago, you had said, by the way, in 2024. Man United fans are going to be trying to banter Arsenal for only winning 1-0 at Old Trafford. The fall off is unbelievable. What did I do at uni? I did economics at uni. I did economics, which was a horrible degree, which probably meant part of that is why that period felt so good, because getting economics exams out of the way, that took a toll on the old mental health. I think there are bantering fans like you who predicted 5-1 before the game. Yeah, that's that. I mean, yeah. Oh, look, I got it wrong. I hold my hands up. But equally, how many of us saw a performance that bad coming from Arsenal in terms of on the ball? I think if we had played to our best, that would have been even close to our best. It would have been it would have been 5-0. Finishing exams is one of life's best feelings, and I ain't even done GCSE yet. Yeah, it is. The summer after exams is a great feeling. If we had played well, it would have been a slapping. It would have done, yeah. He never plays the youth. Yeah, look, we'll get on to that. It's the title and the thumbnail, so we will talk about it. So this is coming from The Athletic. Understand Rua Walters is set to leave Arsenal at the expiry of his contract this summer. He was offered a new deal, but he declined it. First team exposure is what he needs. He's being monitored by clubs in the Premier League, the Championship, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, Italy, and Belgium. I think this is a real shame. I think it's a real shame. I've been a big fan of Walters for a long time. You'll know even last summer, I've always kind of pinned Rua Walters as that extra defender that I think we could bring through. And it's a shame not just to lose him, but to lose him effectively for free. He clearly feels that he should have had exposure to the first team at this point that he's not had. He has had some exposure. I think they said in the article he's been on the bench, the senior team bench, 23 times. So he's had that exposure, but he never made his debut. Never once came on. And I have to feel like that's an Arteta mistake. And the ones where I look at it, personally, are minutes that I've seen Cedric get. In the last 2 seasons, this season and last season, Cedric's played about 500 minutes. Why didn't they go to Rua Walters? That 500 minutes could have been enough to keep him. And even if he was never going to be good enough to really stake a claim for a spot in the first team, once you've got them tied down to one professional contract, then you can sell them. $5 from Bermuda Gooner. If we win the league, I will fly 7 hours to London for the parade. Well, in that case, Bermuda Gooner, I hope to see you in London next Monday. A week today, I hope to see you in London, but time will tell. But thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. That is greatly appreciated. And I guess you'll be spending a lot more on a flight if we get the job done somehow. Yes, we've had injury issues in this position. He should have got chances. Yeah, exactly. Even to the point where I look at how much we've run Ben White into the ground. We've run Ben White into the ground. We know that he's been playing through injury. And there have been games, you cannot tell me there haven't, where we have been 5-0 up at halftime and Rua Walters could come on. That, like, 1,000,000%. You cannot convince me otherwise. Pedro V has just become a new member of the channel. Pedro, welcome to the Rory Talks Football channel. I greatly appreciate the support. It is always good to see a new member. So welcome. But yeah, I look at those 500 minutes that Cedric's got. I look at times where Ben White has played 90 minutes when he just didn't need to. And I think, could that have gone to Rua Walters? And if you look at where they're looking at, where he's going to potentially end up here, Premier League teams, Bundesliga teams, La Liga teams. That's what other clubs think of him. And that's a real shame. And it was widely documented, really, the only reason we think that, or one of the big reasons that got Nwaneri over the line to sign the deal that he signed was because we'd given him a couple of appearances in the Premier League. Would it have been that hard to do that for Walters? And these are the things you have to look at in terms of, okay, if we say this summer, let's say we want to sell Eddie Nketiah for 30 million and we end up selling him for 25 million. And people go, oh, we've lost out on 5 million there. Well, Rua Walters, we might have lost out on 5, 10, 15 million quid. Even if we'd sold him just as a raw academy product that had really not had much time for us. If we'd convinced him to sign a contract and then sold him, it's easy money. And this is what City do. This is what Chelsea do. They sell these players, and they might not even sell them for much, but they might sell them then with a 30, 40% sell-on clause on top of that. And it's the one single area that I think definitely Arteta can improve on. And it's not just Arteta, it's the rest of the club, right? And I think they've acknowledged it themselves. I think they have acknowledged that the academy has become the weakness. But I do think an element of that is how we nurture these young players through. Another stick to beat Arteta with. We win nearly every week. If he can't get any minutes, he clearly isn't anywhere near good enough. Look, it's not a stick to beat Arteta with, right? It's in the grand scheme of things, it's a very minor thing. It is a very minor thing. But if we talk about wanting to be perfect, in terms of wanting to be perfect on the pitch, this is an area that I don't think we're perfect in. I'm not saying it's some awful, awful thing. And, we should hound Arteta for it. I'm just saying, I do think this is a thing that we could improve on. It's a shame, but it is what it is. It is what it is. $4.99 from a new. Thank you very, very much. He says, sometimes I feel like as fans, we overrate our youngsters. Ruel hasn't impressed in the under-21s this season. Team News and Ticks said we will get a fee for him. That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Look, I do think we overrate our youngsters. I think every club overrates their youngsters, right? 100%. From what I've seen, he's always impressed me. Now, maybe I don't have the eye for it, but I remember watching him in the Youth Cup final against West Ham. I thought he looked unbelievable. He looked a level above everyone else on that pitch that day for me. But, it's fair enough. In terms of the fee that we'll get for him, my understanding is that the fee, we get a few £100,000 for him, because there's a thing where if you develop a player, basically it's like we get paid for the cost of developing him by whichever club he moves to, if he moves to a club in Europe. So, yeah, I don't think we'll actually get a fee, because his contract expires at the end of this summer. So, and another $5 from Bermuda Gooner. What if Spurs get a draw? City and Arsenal both win the last game and equal on goal difference. We win on head-to-head. Unfortunately, Bermuda Gooner, we don't. Unfortunately, and I thought that until earlier today when someone corrected me, it doesn't go down to head-to-head after goal difference. After goal difference, it goes down to goals scored. And goals scored, Man City would win. If Man City are able to catch us on goal difference, that would mean that they would have scored more goals than us throughout the season, because they've already scored more goals than us. The only way that couldn't happen, would be if we beat Everton. Sorry, the dog's got mental. If we beat Everton, like 1916 or something like that. If the gap remained at 3, but we scored an insane amount to do it. So yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't come down to head-to-head, which, in my opinion, is ridiculous. Because where is the incentive to beat your title rivals if it doesn't go down to head-to-head? But yeah, I mean, look, that's the thing, by the way. If City draw against Spurs, there's no guarantee we win the league, because West Ham are very, very capable of getting absolutely battered by Man City. And imagine how heartbreaking that would be to get done on goal difference. Imagine that. God, horrible. Absolutely horrible. If City draw, do you think we win the league, or do they outscore us on the day? Well, they'd have to outscore us by 3 goals. They'd have to outscore us by 3 goals, right? Bear in mind, that would assume that we had won the... Right, so for it to go down to goal difference, we'd have to have then beaten Everton, right? So that means that we've guaranteed scored 1. So they would then, as a minimum, have to beat West Ham by 4 goals. Very doable. But if we beat Everton 3-0, City have to win 6-0. I don't know. We're 4 ahead? I thought we were 3 ahead. Am I wrong? No, we're 3 ahead. We're 3 ahead. Our goal difference is 61. Theirs is 58. Rory, have you been to the Old Trafford water park? No, I've got to go this summer, though. I've got to make a trip this summer. Thoughts on Partey's performance? Wasn't Partey's best performance. It wasn't Partey's best performance. Let's be honest. It wasn't Partey's best performance, unfortunately. But hey, look, it is what it is. I genuinely think Ten Hag and United stumbled upon a formation and a setup that kind of worked. I think they kind of stumbled onto a midfield of Mainu, Amrabat, and McTominay. And whilst that offered 0 in terms of creativity, it was actually quite a robust midfield to try and work through. And I think that's why Thomas Partey struggled. I think Ødegaard struggled as well, right? So we can't just, you can't pin the blame on Thomas Partey when I thought Ødegaard had a quiet game too. But yeah, I feel like it was almost more by luck than judgment that they ended up with that midfield that worked quite well. Like, I think if they'd had, if that midfield, instead of being what it was, if it had been what, it would probably have been if he'd remained fit, Mainu, McTominay, and Mason Mount, I think we'd have had an easier game. What are your opinions on Jesus? He was so good for us, but just seems out of place in this team. Do we move him on this summer? I mean, it's an interesting one, right? Like, yeah, the same as when Gallagher played as the 10 for Chelsea. Yeah, exactly like that, Wayne. It was like, because they're eights really, and they're more difficult to play through as that kind of first line of defense for the midfield. On Jesus though, look, I mean, I think his cameo performances off the bench recently have been good. I think he's looked sharp. Look, he doesn't have the pace that he used to have. I don't think he could start games, but he's going to have surgery in the summer. Look, ultimately, it will come down to what sort of an offer comes in for him. If a good offer from Saudi comes in for him, I think we do the deal. If it doesn't, I don't think it's the end of the world that we still have him next season. He's experienced. He's a good player in the dressing room. And I do think he can come off the bench and cause problems anywhere across the front three, really. I think there are players that can learn from him. I think there are definitely players that can learn how to press from him. If we go out and sign a new striker, I'd like them to learn how to press off Jesus. So, it's not. I kind of don't mind either way. But if a good offer comes in, I think you probably take it. What if City score two 90th minute goals again to win the league? I mean, it'd just be brutal, wouldn't it? It'd be brutal. Do you think Timber will play against Everton? I think he'll come off the bench. I think Timber will come off the bench against Everton, yeah. And he should get that kind of warm reception from the crowd, right? A welcome back. Maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. I would like to think that he does, though. It would almost, if he doesn't get to come off the bench against Everton, I feel like it would almost feel like a lot of the work that he's done to get back to fitness by the end of this season would have been completely pointless. If in the end we never see him at the end of this season, like, the real effort that he put into getting back fit as quickly as possible again would almost have been pointless, because he could have just waited until the summer anyway. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, he's not been in a matchday squad yet, so maybe it'll remain the same. I do wonder if Arteta is struggling to decide who not to put in the squad, because he would have to effectively pick to drop someone from the squad for it, because we've got no injuries. So it's going to be impossible to get a ticket on the exchange. Yeah, I am struggling to get a ticket. I can't lie. Martinelli was nearly unreal yesterday. His pace is such a game changer. Yeah, I'd have loved it. If he got that goal yesterday. Brilliant save from Onana. But I would have loved it. Like the video. Yeah, if you could just take 1 minute, not even a minute, 10 seconds. If you're on mobile, just close the chat, click the like button, open the chat again. If you're on desktop, website, whatever, just scroll down, click the like button. Thank you very much. I riot if Arteta put Cedric on versus Everton instead of Timber. Nah, Cedric won't be in the squad. How did he reject? We offered him a pro contract and he turned it down, basically. He wants to leave to get game time. Cedric's last game on Sunday. Yeah, I mean, it's Cedric and El Neni's last games on Sunday, but they won't be in the squad. Best tactic to get a ticket on the exchange? Just got to keep refreshing it. And then when it kicks you out, go to a different device so you can keep cycling through devices. But it's tough. Just watch the game near the Emirates. That's the best thing to do if you can't get a ticket. I will. I'll go to a pub if I can't get a ticket. But I haven't missed a game in, well, effectively over like 2.5 seasons. I haven't missed a home game. So my mate might not be able to go to Everton because abroad. If it's not able, I can keep you posted. Yes, please. If he would like to stay abroad, I would welcome that. Do all managers do an end of season speech to the fans on the last home game? No, it doesn't always happen. It's one of those ones where, obviously, if the manager's leaving, I would highly suspect that Klopp will do one Are they at Anfield on? Yeah, they must be at Anfield on Sunday, right? So I would highly expect that Klopp does one. If a manager is leaving, they do it. I think if a manager's had a really good season, if you've had, we had it with Arteta at the end of last season. It's one of those. I think you read the room, right? I think you read the room, and the last thing you want to do is have the manager come out to do a speech to the crowd, and there's no one there, and everyone's left. So I don't know if Arteta will do one again this season. It'll be interesting, but imagine we lift the trophy, that game, but you miss it. Yeah, that'd be incredibly painful. That would be incredibly painful. Do you see Arteta staying as long as Wenger? No. I will never see a manager stay that long again, in my opinion. Not at the top of the game, anyway. Look, I would have, if we got to the point, right, where Arteta had won everything with Arsenal, if he had won the Champions League, the Premier League, and he felt like he'd taken the team as far as he could, I wouldn't criticize him if he then moved to Barcelona. He grew up at Barcelona. If he conquered England and he took Arsenal on to win everything that you can win, if he then went to Barcelona, look, it'd be painful, be incredibly painful, but I wouldn't hate him for it. How long do you think he will stay? I think we've got at least another 4 or 5 years, potentially a lot more. One thing people say is, if Arteta doesn't win in the next couple of years, do you think he would leave? As in, like, he'd leave because Arsenal weren't good enough for him? And it's like, well, first of all, if Arsenal aren't good enough for him, then what he's created isn't good enough, right? He's been given the full backing. Bradley, I appreciate that. So he couldn't turn around and say, "Oh, Arsenal isn't good enough for me," when Arsenal is literally him right now. But equally, where would he go? Unless he went to City. But I just don't think he ever would. If he ever did go to City, he'd definitely go somewhere else first. So I think he's here for a long while. I hope so. Do you think Timber will be in the squad on Sunday? I personally can't see a space for him, considering we're still in the title race. I think he'll be in the squad. I'll be disappointed if he's not. Arteta loves the club. He does. I mean, there are loads of things that can factor into it as well, right? So one thing that can factor into it is his kids. So one thing that some people do is they wait for their kids to get to a certain age before they want to move them. So they don't want to move. He might wait until his kid is his youngest is 11 and is about to leave primary school, because then there's going to be disruption anyway. So then you can move. Like, in terms of moving your whole family to Spain, for example, when you've got a family, there are things that you can kind of, there are times where it's good to move and times where it's not to. So there's loads of stuff that factors into it. Will you miss the away kit now it's had its last game? I kind of will. I mean, we've had so many big memories in that kit. I still don't like the kit. I objectively don't like the kit, but it's one of those where I have a love-hate relationship with it, because I love it for what it has symbolized this season, Arsenal won't go to an English side. Arteta won't go to an English side. Only other team possibly is one day Everton. Yeah, maybe. The lineups. Here we go. So Liverpool have gone Alisson, Trent, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Gomez, Elliott, Endo, McAllister, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz. I will just double check that has updated. That's a strong team. I was speaking to Tom Little today, and he thought they were going to go really weak. But no, yeah, that is the team. That's good. This is good news. This is a strong team. We wanted this. Tom Little thought that they were going to put out a weakened team and play a load of kids. So that is good. For Villa, Martinez, Konza, Carlos Torres, Digne and Cash, McGinn and Louise, Diaby, Bailey, and Watkins. That's an attacking team. You know, that front three. Interesting that they've dropped Morgan Rogers. In fact, Morgan Rogers isn't even on the bench, so I assume he's injured. He is injured. You know, look, Liverpool. It's a very winnable team for Liverpool, to be honest. It's a very winnable team. So the issue is, because if it ends in a draw, right? If it ends in a draw, I mean, if it ends in a draw, you know, Spurs are still in it if it ends in a draw. Spurs are still in it if it ends in a draw. So, okay. Maybe there's hope. Villa, yeah, as long as Villa don't win, Spurs are still in it. So that's what we hope for. I think Spurs will lose either way. I agree. My dad's name is John McGann. Beg John McGann. Emery knows he needs to win. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the time when Emery knows he needs to win, he doesn't. Spurs out because of the goal difference, in my opinion, if they draw. No. If Villa draw, they'll be on 68. So if Villa draw and then lose to Palace, because Villa go away to Palace on the final day, if Villa draw and then lose to Palace, then 2 wins would do it for Spurs. So otherwise, if Villa lose and then Spurs draw, basically, if Villa lose and then Spurs draw, Villa would be on however much lower goal difference after tonight. Let's say they even lost 1-0. The goal difference gap would be 7. Spurs would then need to catch up 7 goal difference on the final day, hoping if Spurs drew to City, they'd need to catch up 7 goal difference and 3 points on the final day. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen, but the main thing is just hoping that Villa don't win tonight. That is the main thing. Will Villa have a bit of a hangover from losing to Olympiacos? Hopefully, yeah. We'll always say Emery is a poor end-of-season manager outside of Europa. His form at the end of the season is awful and has cost him his Arsenal job. Yeah, and I mean, even in the Conference League, you know, they just got absolutely smacked up by Olympiacos. So Spurs also have to look behind them. If they slip up twice, they can go down to 7th. Yeah, true. No, they can't. They can't. Can they? Oh, no, yeah, they can. They can. Yeah, for some reason I thought that Chelsea were playing against Newcastle, but it's not. It's Man United against Newcastle. So, yeah, they do have to look behind them, I suppose. They could end up in the Conference League if they're not careful. But then their final games against blimmin' Sheffield. Their final games against Sheffield. They're not going to lose to Sheffield United. Where was Emery this time last season? He was in La Liga, wasn't he? Oh, no. Villa. Yeah, he was at Villa this time last season. I call on the football gods to make Spurs as Spurs as possible tomorrow. Bottle it by winning. We can hope. Plans for the Euros? Beer gardens. Pretty much. No, I don't know. Beer gardens. No, I'll probably do some watch-alongs. In fact, I will definitely do some watch-alongs during the Euros. They might not be for the England games, but I will definitely do some watch-alongs during the Euros. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the summer, to be honest. The weather over the last few days has been nice. This will be my first Euros over 18. Nice. I've made a pact with the football gods. If Arsenal win the title, I'll stop smoking. Hey. Win-win. Win-win. Yeah, Spurs have Sheffield United on the last day, yeah. The guest, the Gooner, is Kanu tonight. Not tonight. Magnus, good to see you. Speaking of that, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that person is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community, but not as much respect as... no. Yeah. Started rattling that off. That's for the other game. They do just have the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community. Anyway, clue number 1, this player is 24 years old. This player is 24 years old. Clue number 2, they came from the Hale End. Clue number 2, they came from the Hale End. Clue number 3, they scored 11 goals in 78 games for Arsenal. They scored 11 goals in 78 games for Arsenal. Clue number 4, they only made 9 Premier League appearances this season. They only made 9 Premier League appearances this season. And clue number 5, they moved from Arsenal to Newcastle United in 2021. They moved from Arsenal to Newcastle United in 2021. 21. Right. Who got it first? Might need a VAR check. Might need a VAR check. Lots of people saying Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson. Right. I'm back to the top. There we go. The winner is Sam Shapiro. He put Wilcock, but we'll give it to him. He put Wilcock, but we will give it to him. In second, it was lots of people were saying Reece Nelson, by the way. Lots of people were saying Reece Nelson. In second, it was Francesco. Is this Francesco Oliveira? Have you just changed your name to just Francesco? And your profile picture? Or is this a different Francesco? I don't know. Let me know. But he was second. Third was Ethan Udall. Fourth was Sportcat. And fifth was Anna Simos. So there you go. Congratulations to Sam Shapiro. Congratulations to Sam Shapiro. Now I'm new. Oh, we've got 2 Francescos in the building. We have got 2 Francescos in the building. You'll have to scrap it out with Francesco Oliveira when he comes back. King Kai thinks it was him. King Kai's got me doing a VAR check. King Kai's got me doing a VAR check. Okay, you said Saka. These are the messages you sent before. You said Rice. You said Bentner. You said Wiltord. You said F. And that was it. So, unfortunately, King Kai. Decision stands. You did not win. Finally made the podium. I'm having a good day. Look, first step is getting to the podium. Second step is getting the win. Oh man, it's so brutal when you go through people's VAR checks. Well, when I bring up all the incorrect ones. Good job, VAR. Good process, boys. Good process, boys. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks football community, but not as much respect as Sam Shapiro currently has. If Arsenal win the title, I'd love them to steal the clock fist bump, and both Arsenal and Everton fans sing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Ross Lawman just hates Liverpool. All right, this player started their career at Charlton Athletic. They went to Liverpool. They went to Blackpool on loan. They then went to Swansea City. They went to Newcastle United. They went to Nottingham Forest. And they went to C. Rizespor. Who is the player? Charlton, Liverpool, Blackpool on loan, Swansea, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, C. Rizespor. Did anyone get it right? Jay Spearing. What a shout. No, I'm pretty sure Jay Spearing was he not Liverpool Academy? I think he was Liverpool Academy. Who was first? Who was first? There we go. It's Sportcat again. It is Sportcat again. Schlevy. Good old John Joe Schlevy. No, I'll give you it, even though the spelling was a little bit off. Hyper Protagonist was second. Shelvery. Good old Shelvery as well. Alex Suter was third, although he was the first person to actually spell it correctly. Blazing Terror was fourth. And Ethan Udall was fifth with Chevely. Some sensational spelling of John Joe Shelby there. But there you go. There you go. Congratulations. Congratulations to both Sam Shapiro and once again to Sportcat, who is really becoming a bit of a goat of Guess the Non-Gooner. It has to be said, Sportcat is taking the crown of Guess the Non-Gooner at the moment. Respect to him for being a Chelsea fan and still being so active here. Yeah, very true, actually. Very true. Some autocorrect merchants here. Smithy is adamant that he was first. I was first 100%. Smithy, we'll check it, Smithy. We'll check it, Smithy. Where was... Okay, so I need to go upwards from here. We're looking for Smithy. He's certain he was first. Smithy, you didn't even put a guess in before. It might be your internet, Smithy, because you didn't even make a guess before the right answer. So I think that might be your internet. I don't even know where you sent a message, Smithy. Unless someone else can see it, I can't even see a single message from him saying that was first. Troll? Smithy. You know, I take this seriously. I take this job seriously, Smithy. And I don't find that funny. I don't find that funny one bit. You know, us referees have a tough gig out here. We have a tough gig out here. And next time, and I'll remember your name. I'll remember this, Smithy. And next time, it'll be the boy that cried wolf. It'll be the boy that cried wolf. Because next time, I won't scroll up. I won't scroll up. Honestly. Just an honest man out here trying to do an honest job. Absolute disgrace. It's a disgrace. Yeah, that's a yellow card. That's a yellow card. And you're in the memory now. You're in the no. There's no time for apologies now. There's no time. You're in the memory now. You're like Granit Xhaka. You're like Granit Xhaka. You will be treated differently. Have you got an Everton ticket? My dad sold some for 200 each today after buying for 70 each. No, I haven't got a ticket. Mainly because people like your dad are profiteering. It's a disgrace. Mark Goldbridge breakdown. I think it's a 3-match ban. When did VAR start doling out yellows? Listen, this VAR is built differently. He does what he wants. And that is a yellow. That is a yellow. Smithy needs to win Guess the Gooner to make up for it now. Yeah, and when he does, watch me conveniently not read that message. What happened with Smithy? He baited me into doing a VAR check, knowing full well that he hadn't even sent a single message. Granite turned it around and won a title invincible. You've got a chance, Smithy. Yeah, Smithy, you've just got to go to the Bundesliga, pal. Smithy, you've just got to go and find a German streamer and get in their chat and hope that you can win it over there. Because it ain't happening here. I'll lock in tomorrow. Now, is this the same Francesco from a minute ago who now has another different profile picture? Or is this Francesco Oliveira? Too many Francescos. Too many Francescos. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I appreciate you all for joining. I'm going to be live on Twitch at about 10:15, 10:30. Basically, as soon as I've made content reacting to the Liverpool-Villa game. We're continuing with the Last of Us walkthrough, which is, I still really haven't found a level of composure with that game yet. But I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Hopefully, Liverpool do us a favour, and I will catch you all either tonight on the Twitch stream or otherwise tomorrow, same time, same place. And have a good evening and goodbye.